Shipmates, C&O Guild Day here with my wife Linda. This year, we're celebrating the Navy's 245th birthday virtually around the world together.
Although this year's birthday celebration may be a bit different than in years past, we can all be so proud of 2.5 centuries of tradition and the men and women who continue to build our Navy's legacy, along with honoring those family members and loved ones who stand beside them each and every day.
Today, sailors stand the watch from the Western Atlantic to the South China Sea and from the high north to the South Pacific. Your Navy enables prosperity 24/7, 365 at home and abroad by helping keep the maritime commons open and free. And I promise you that our allies and our partners, as well as our fellow Americans, all sleep better because you are out there.
Our birthday is an important occasion because we celebrate our rich past, toast our shipmates' accomplishments today, and also look forward to our Navy's very bright future ahead.
The Navy needs you to be the best that you can be, to serve others, to be courageous, and to never forget that America has a great Navy.
Happy 245th birthday, Navy family.
See you in the fleet, shipmates.
It'll always be a significant event in my life. You see it here in my house. You see it on my truck. The stickers will come off. I'll let go some, but you really won't ever totally let go because it's a part of you, always will be. The crew will always be a part of me, as I them, again for what we share. And the ship will always be our ship. You know, when you get a command like this, like a destroyer, and it was my first time getting a small ship like this, you think about the size of the crew, you know, everybody knows everybody, and then to see her actually pretty ship-shape and shiny, and all the signal flags flying forward to aft, that makes you feel proud.
It really was hard on us because we went there, we took him to the ship and watched the sail off and saw a tear fall from his eye.
The morning before the attack, we had just successfully transited the Suez Canal. We had orders to refuel and take on over 200,000 gallons of fuel. Some of the crew, before we even deployed, felt nervous. It was maybe because it was their first time deploying. Some experienced sailors also felt some bad vibes, don't know why. But I think it's like that in life when you get this gut feeling sometimes that something ain't right.
Yes, October 12th at 11:18. Actually, early that morning, it was just a brief stop for fuel. Then right after that, they passed the word for regular early chow, which is at 11:15.
They were serving chicken fajitas. I think everybody will tell you that. And then the blast happened.
Damaged in a terrorist attack in Yemen.
American sailors were killed, injured,
U.S.
missing.
Navy officials in Bahrain today said suspected suicide bombing.
It was a deafening sound, but I recall more just feeling it than hearing it. The pressure of it knocked me back in my chair, and along with that, all the lights went out. The next thing that I can really recall from the blast is just this putrid, kind of acrid smoke. It was very hard to breathe. Everybody was choking from the smoke.
I went into work. I walked in and I looked at the television because it was on. It was saying breaking news, attack on the USS Cole. And then my mind just froze, and I was thinking, USS Cole. I didn't want to believe that was his ship.
We have lost everything. The main machinery room instantly flooded. We lost operations. We lost communications. We had nothing. So I basically had to go from being a command master chief now to using my old corpsman skills. We instantly, we lost 17 sailors. We had well over 50 casualties. You live with it every day that these are young men and women that you knew personally. We had a crew of 275. And to respectfully have to put them in a body bag is the worst thing I could ever think of. And to think of their loved ones back home having to deal with that later, that goes through your mind. And what do you say later?
I see two men getting out of the car. Both of them had uniforms. And I know from TV that when they come to your house, they're not coming to tell you good news. And so I just kept walking, walked right past my car. And they walked up to me and they said, "Are you Diane McDaniels?" And I said, "No." And they asked me again, and I said, "Yes," because I just didn't want to know. So we went back up, and that's when they told me that he was missing. And then the guy, he had walked toward the back of the apartment, and he came back in, and he said, he came back to me, and he said, "Miss McDaniels," he said, "I have to tell you that your son is dead." And I said, "How can he be dead? Because you just told me he was missing." And they said that he had been identified as being dead. So that's how we found out. It's October 12th in the evening. Yeah, he had died.
A kid I stood watch with every day, OS2 Saunders. Both of his legs were busted up so bad they were out of shape on the, they were all twisted on the Stoke stretcher that they were carrying him on. And still the same cheery personality. He gives me 2 thumbs up and says, "They're taking care of me, Master Chief," as they're carrying him off on a Stoke stretcher. And he was the only shipmate that made it off the ship and over to the hospital that passed away over there. Every other one that we got off the ship and triaged, to get off soon enough, they made it. The rest of them died before we ever got them off the ship.
You know, we had no food stores, no food, potable water's gone. Even in things like you don't think about as heads. So, you know, you got to think of preventive medicine. You got to worry about dysentery. A lot of challenges. And then you got the enemy on top of that you still have to worry about. You know, we had to respect each other's decisions and follow orders from junior people. And we did that. And that's what I really feel saved the ship, because even chiefs were following orders of junior enginemen that knew what they were doing, so we could get the right thing done to save our ship and our shipmates. We almost lost her, and she would have been laying on her port side sunk. Once we got through all that and getting all the bodies off, it took about 12 days.
People called us heroes. They called us that when we came back. I think most of the shipmates, we just saw ourselves as doing our job. It was sailors being sailors.
I think that's good to keep the story alive, and it's a lesson learned. I'm glad he did what he did as far as serving, because that's what he wanted to do. But one thing I can say is that even though 17 died, because I have to include the other ones too, it wasn't just him. 17 died to save thousands, because now they are now protected. And so I just feel that don't let him and crew members that died, to have died in vain, you know, just let it be a lesson learned. Because I wouldn't want anyone else to go through what I went through and the other family members went through. Because we went through a lot.
When I left her, she was on stilts down in Pascagoula with big holes in the side of them, removing the main engines, repairing the 40 by 60 foot hole in the side with the American flag flying aft. That's the way I had to leave her. I was saddened. I would have never thought in my life that I'd have to go through something like that. But when she was fixed, put back, it was pride. Because we told them son of a bitches that we were not defeated and that we were coming back. And she's out there just like other destroyers, serving and doing their job, doing what they're trained to do, so I can be safe at home here in North Carolina.
I got to the Cole in the spring of '99. When I got to the Cole, I was just excited to be in the fleet. I had spent a long time in school, and a big part of the draw of the Navy for me was going to sea, so it was a really exciting time for me to get there. Things at the point were excellent. You know, we went to Barcelona, we went to Malta. It was my first time anywhere in Europe, anywhere overseas, so I had a blast. We pulled into Aden, and After we pulled in, I went down to the mess line, and that's when the attack happened.
Damaged in a terrorist attack in Yemen.
American sailors were killed, injured,
U.S.
missing.
Navy officials in R.O.V.E.R.S today said suspected suicide bomber.
It was more like just a very loud, sudden pop. And all of a sudden, you knew the ship had moved. I found myself sort of crouched. Everything was dark and quiet, and there was an odd, acrid smell. Everyone in my vicinity went to our GQ stations and awaited instructions. Damage control efforts after the attack were intense and sustained for, I think it was 3 days. We fought the ship and nobody got any rest. I remember seeing one of the chiefs that didn't survive being carried out on a stretcher at the time, not knowing if he was alive or not. I remember seeing a blanket that was covering a body that had blood running out from under it. Disturbing things, yeah. But I also saw the crew come together, keep it together, and everybody do their jobs. It's an intense few days. I got out of the Navy in the fall of 2006. Yeah, coming to Battle Stations 21, it was incredible to see what we were going to be able to contribute, that we were going to be able to take what happened on the Cole and make training future sailors and preparing them for such an eventuality, make that part of the Cole's legacy. So I see it and saw it as a way to honor our fallen shipmates and keep their memory alive, because the kids that come through here every night, they hear about them and they know about them. It's not just part of boot camp curriculum, but they get to experience something based off of it. And from what we've heard about sailors that have been through here, they don't forget it. And that's pretty powerful. They're learning a lot that will hopefully help to save their lives if something like that should happen again. By memorializing the Cole in this way, we're keeping it alive and we're keeping it in the hearts and minds of young sailors. I couldn't ask for a better job.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Drew Grade Natalie Boria. I'm the damage control assistant on board the ship. I'd like to welcome you all to the USS Cole. Let's go take a look. All right, so this is our flight deck. What makes us different for Flight 1 DDG versus the Flight 2 is we don't have any hangar bays, as you can see. We do work with MH60s, SH60s. We can do vert reps on here, PAX transfers. We can in-flight refuel a helo if need be. They can also land on deck and we can refuel them here as well. This flight deck played a very large role after the bombing. This was kind of the heartbeat in the hub for the crew. This is where they ate and they slept several days in the Gulf of Aden while they were still fighting to keep the ship afloat. So from here, I'd like to take you guys all to our central control station, CCS.
That's a great crew, and this is the USS Cole, so it's well known on the waterfront more than probably a lot of other ships. But determined warrior lives up to his expectation. I'm just glad to be a part of it.
All right, so welcome to Central Control Station, or as we call it, CCS. As I said, this is the heartbeat, the hub of engineering department. We've got our UCCs, our Universal Controlling Stations, that are able to control and observe everything that goes on in the plant. So our EDO today, our Engineering Duty Officer, is GSM-1 Henderson, and he'll be able to explain in more depth of what goes on and what him and his sailors do on a daily basis.
GSM-1 Henderson, Engineering Duty Officer for the day on board USS Cole, due to Section 505. I'll be introducing you into the Universal Control Consoles. This right here is the heartbeat of the hull of the ship. We have 4 of these consoles throughout the ship, 2 here, 1 in each main engine room. There are factors for the engineering department by being able to allow us to monitor and start-stop equipment from CCS as far as auxiliaries, electrical controls, electrical distribution, and propulsion plant. They're going to be basically the eyes and the ears for the control console operators for CCS, whether in port or underway, off steaming, right? This way, I'll point you around to the DC plates, right? This is like a Google Maps, giant poster of the ship, each layer of the ship from 05 all the way down to the 5th deck below. Whenever we have casualties and we're fighting, trying to defend the ship, in order to properly see what the watchstanders see, because we don't have cameras throughout all of the spaces, we have to be able to navigate and plot through these systems to help assist the watchstanders at all times when they're trying to defend the ship. This right here is also going to aid us in our damage control efforts throughout the ship. This is our damage control console where we start and stop fire pumps, ventilation to help de-smoke spaces, whether we have to open up drain valves to help de-water in case of flooding events. And so all of this stuff is controlled in port by one watchstander, and that about wraps up everything for the engineering department, central control station / damage control station. And thank you for your time.
Another awesome piece of coal history that we maintain on board are the engineering logs from October 2000. It's pretty humbling to keep this box here right in DC Central. When I come here, I'm plotting, directing our sailors where to go. I always have this box here to remind myself of our coal heroes who kept this ship afloat and what our job and our mission is to do on board. So from now, we'll take you guys to our Hall of Heroes. All right, so welcome to the Hall of Heroes. As you saw when we entered through the medical P-way, I removed my cover. It's tradition on board Cole. Through the medical P-way, our Hall of Heroes, and the Chief's Mess P-ways, we remove our covers to honor our 17 sailors. This is kind of the central location of the blast site. This is also the entrance to the Hall of Heroes to get onto the mess decks. We have our 17 sailors right here, and on the deck we have our 17 gold stars that we walk past every single day. And again, this is another heartbeat central location for the ship and for our sailors. So these 17 shipmates of ours, they're never far from our minds at all. It's a humbling experience to walk through this P-way, remove the covers. Always reminds us what we need to do and what our focus is on a daily basis. So from here, I'll take you on to the mess decks. All right, so welcome to the mess decks. I want to show some of the significant flags we have displayed on the bulkhead here. This first flag was flying on 12 October, the morning we were bombed. A very significant key to this flag is we had it flying for 9 straight days. The captain, Commander Leopold at the time, he didn't want to retire the colors until all of our shipmates were recovered. The second flag is from 9 December 2002. That's when the remains of our fallen shipmates were committed to the sea, and that was the flag that was draped over their casket. This third flag here is from 9 July 2006, and that was the first time we returned to the Gulf of Aden since we were bombed. As somebody who's deployed on board Cole and been through the Gulf of Aden on Cole, it's a very significant time whenever you go through that area of the world. Something that we never forget as Cole sailors, of the sacrifices that our 17 sailors and all of our Cole heroes made to keep Cole afloat when they were in the Gulf of Aden. So also displayed on our mess decks, we have a shadow box of Sergeant Darrell S. Cole and the medals he received while in action. Most notably, we have got the Medal of Honor and the Purple Heart, which he was posthumously awarded. For more information on Sergeant Cole, here's a short video.
Sergeant Darrell Samuel Cole, United States Marine Corps, who was posthumously awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, the nation's highest award for valor and bravery. On February 19, 1945, during the battle with Japanese forces at Iwo Jima, 24-year-old Sergeant Cole led his machine gun section ashore in the assault of the island. When one of his squads became pinned down by enemy fire, Cole, armed only with a pistol and hand grenades, crawled forward destroying 2 gun emplacements with the grenades. After the destruction of the enemy positions, Sergeant Cole was killed by an enemy hand grenade while returning to lead his squad again. Sergeant Cole had also seen action at Kwajalein, Saipan, and Tinny.
All right, now I'd like to take you guys to the Chief's Mess, Costello's Cove. All right, before we get to the Chief's Mess, I want to show you guys this is the port side of our ship, and this is where the blast occurred. We had a 40 by 60 foot hole blasted into our ship, and the mess decks right here is the central location of that blast. The deck beneath us, all the way through the overhead, was completely destroyed. And as we walk past the Chief's Mess down below, we have the general workshop, our main one engine room, and the oil lab. Those 3 spaces were also heavily destroyed, and that's where we suffered our greatest damage. And these were where the majority of our casualties were that day. So I'll take you on to the Chief's Mess. As I said, Chief's Mess, we call it Costello's Cove. It's named after E.T.C. Costello, chief on board on 12 October 2000. He was eating lunch that day when the blast occurred. And for more on Chief Costello and our Chief's Mess, I'd like to introduce you to Command Master Chief Reyes Velez.
Good morning and welcome aboard USS Cole. We are right now inside the Chief's Mess, which have been dedicated to our shipmate, Richard Costello. Rich joined the Navy back in 1988, and in a few years, he was selected to the rank of Chief Petty Officer. Oddly enough, that is the year where on October 12th, the ship was bombed in Yemen, and we lost our shipmate, Chief Costello. In our humble grace to remember his memory, we dedicate this mess. We feel every day the spirit of those that lost their life on that fateful day. And it brings the crew together to accomplish greatness and to be true to the fighting spirit of the Navy, to uphold honor, courage, and commitment to its highest standards.
All right, so I'd like to take you guys down to the entrance of our main engine room, our oil lab, and our general workshop, so you can get an idea of the gravity of the blast and the damage that we suffered. So right here, this is the entrance to main engine room number 1. This is where we had a few sailors that day, as well as our oil lab. This is where our MPA at the time, a Lieutenant Drew Grade Triplet, he was working on the morning of the 12th. And then over here, I've got our general workshop. You can see we have HE2 Clodfelter's plaque probably displayed on our shop. And my sailors, our DCs and HCs, take a lot of pride in what HE2 did for the ship, as well as, again, all of our 17 heroes and Cole sailors. All right, and now I'd like to take you guys up to our pilot house, where we drive the ship.
I'm OS1 Kenyatta Handy. Being on the USS Cole, knowing the history behind it, it means a lot to me. It kind of brings history full circle, because most of the time we think about history being a long time ago, but I'm living in it. I'm carrying on the tradition of what USS Cole stands for.
Welcome to the pilot house. This is where we drive the ship and navigate the ship. And first stop I want to show you is our chart table. We used to use paper charts. Now we've made the transition to electronic chart display. So we have here is our voyage management system. This is what we use to navigate the ship while we're underway. And as you can see in here in the pilot house, we've got a great view looking out the windows. We have these brand new consoles right here. And part of the shipyard period, we got upgrades, something called the Integrated Bridge Navigation System. And part of that system is these consoles where we can display a lot of information. And so we have the chart display, we've got the rudder and the propulsion control. So all this information really helps the situational awareness for the bridge watch standards. Additionally, we have an embedded training system. So we have these 2 large screen displays up here right now. And we're getting ready to do a training scenario for one of our junior officers. So this is very similar to what we do in the simulators ashore. Now we can do it on our ship. As we move around, I want to show you the helm console. Now while we're underway, we'll have a sailor, the helmsman, here driving the ship. So this is the helm, controls the rudder. And then we also have the propulsion control, controlling our speed. And this is a touchscreen throttle control right here. Lastly, I want to show you these plaques we have 17 of these plaques posted throughout the ship, each commemorating each one of the 17 sailors who lost their lives 20 years ago. And these plaques and these sailors serve as inspiration to us, today's determined warriors. It was their heroic efforts that motivate us every single day and inspire us towards elite performance. Well, that concludes our tour. If you'll join me, we'll head down to the fantail.
It's humbling, and knowing that we're walking in the footsteps of sailors who served on board here, and she was actually attacked. I have a lot more respect for everything that happened. I have a better understanding now from the middle school time frame when this actually took place. And just honoring all 17, it just changes your mood, knowing that you're here to do a job and make sure everybody goes home safe.
Well, that concludes our tour for today. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll always remember 6-7, and we hope you do too.
To our sailors, civilians, and proud Navy families, happy 245th birthday. Through your service and excellence, each of you forges the next link in our chain, extending from the days of our Navy's birth during the American Revolution to the many challenges we face around the world today. 75 years ago, our Navy achieved a great and unprecedented victory at sea in the Pacific. The conflict that began right here at Pearl Harbor was secured in victory through the determination and skill of every sailor who stepped forward to defend our nation in its hour of need. It took all hands to achieve such a hard-fought victory that was never fully assured. Those who went before us took to the sea, the skies, and the depths of the oceans in order to preserve our nation for us and succeeding generations. They served through adversity, far from home, with some never returning. Their lasting memorial is the world they created, the world that you now stand to protect in your service to our nation. I am honored to stand with you in that mission. Thank you for all that you and your families do for our Navy and our country. And on behalf of the American people, Bravo Zulu to each of you. Happy birthday, Navy.